Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Lisa Mohajé, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. I am so glad that you took time out of your busy schedule to hop on and join us this evening and just learn a little bit more about what it is that we are talking about, why we're so excited, why we're posting about meals, why we're posting about workouts, why we're posting about life change in general. So I just wanted to hop on, show my face real quick before I show my screen, just to let you know I'm here, I'm live. One of the beauties of working from home is you can present to hundreds of people wearing a ball cap, a hoodie, have your blanket, have a cup of coffee, even though it's 8 o'clock my time, and get ready to present and build an incredible business on your time, on your schedule, privacy of your own home, and just do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen really quick so we can get started. All right. So here we go. Let me see if I got it on here right. There we go. Isn't technology like amazing? I mean, the beauty of this business is that everything is available at your fingertips. And even if you don't even know how to do something with Google and with the team, like you can figure things out like that. So tonight's presentation is titled Getting Physically and Financially Fit. And I just threw in the little tagline, why not you, right? You see all of these other people doing it. You see people happier, they're healthier, there's something different about them. So why not you, right? So before I go into this presentation, I just want to give you guys a little bit of background about myself. You're like, okay, who is this person? Why should I listen to her? What's she all about? So my name's Lisa Mohajé, and I'm originally from a really small town in central Illinois. I'm talking small, 1,300 people town. Cornfields, soybeans, you know, I used to ride my roller skates around the park, around the little town growing up. So a very small town, very tight-knit community. I've actually started Beachbody coaching. It's been exactly 8 years, which is really just insane at how fast time goes by and how fast your life can change, even when maybe it seems like it's not changing that fast. As soon as you know it, you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, 6 months has gone by, a year has gone by, 5 years has gone by. And I just want to encourage you to really think throughout this presentation tonight, where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in a year, 5 years from now? Where do you see your life? And how are you going to get there? You know, for a lot of us, we grow up and the dreams that we had when we were younger of, you know, that we could do anything. Maybe it's, you know, be an astronaut or a dentist or travel the world or have fancy cars or, you know, go work for mission groups or whatever. When we grow up, we get into that rut, that routine of working the 9-to-5 job. We have families, we are tired, we are run down, and we have bills. You know, we get stuck living paycheck to paycheck, or we just don't have that time and freedom because of, you know, everything that takes place in our life. And so those dreams eventually start to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So what I really want to talk to you guys tonight is just about digging those dreams back out. So for a lot of you guys, you've maybe put your dreams like in a box, they're up on a shelf, all dusty. It's time to get those dreams out and really focus on those and really figure out, how are you going to do this? How are you going to make it happen for your family? You know, what is it that you're going to do differently? Because chances are, if you don't do something different, nothing different's going to happen. So rewind to my life about 8 years ago. I was recently divorced. So I was a single mom. I was living in a house I couldn't afford. I was getting foreclosure notices left and right. I was getting repo notices left and right for my car. Would come home a lot of times, not a lot of times, several times. I would come home and the power was turned off or the water was turned off. And I was desperate. I was desperate to make a change. I could not live my life like that anymore. And for anyone that's been in that situation, especially when you have kids, it's really hard to look at your babies in the eyes and tell them like why I have to dig 70 cents out of the ashtray of the car to go get a hamburger. Or why is the water turned off? Why is the power turned off? So for me, I was working full-time, working as a secretary in a corn refinery plant. I had always tried, like I've always tried to do better. I've always tried to do more. I got my paralegal certificate. I went back and got my bachelor's degree, and I literally got nowhere. So I was like, I have to do something different. I started looking at other home businesses, and I started having home parties also because of, you know, as a single, I didn't have a huge social network. And so I had some candle parties, I had some jewelry parties, and some of the other parties that are out there. And I watched these women bring in these huge kits of product that they had purchased. They came to the party an hour early, they stayed an hour late, they processed the sales, they did a presentation. I did not have time for that, and I didn't have the money to invest into that. So I actually got started with Beachbody. I waited for my birthday and used my birthday money and got signed up. Best decision I've ever made. I actually started with Beachbody on VHS tapes doing Power 90 and just continuously progressed. And I remember when I met my coach, Christina, I got signed up to do a Turbo Kick certification in February of 2009. She came down from Chicago. I did the certification. I was familiar with Turbo Jam. So at that point, I'd already been using Beachbody products. But it wasn't until, like I said, my birthday, which was at the end of July, that I actually got signed up. So it was in that time period that I was watching her on Facebook. She was really positive. She was really encouraging. She was having fun. She was so cool. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to be fun. I want to be cool. I want to do something different with my life. And it was all about timing. So I got signed up. The first 6 months of my business was rough, and I'm talking about really rough. So I got signed up as a coach. Shortly after that, my precious, precious, precious grandma passed away. I had to move Tira, my daughter Tira, out of her school into a public school. She was at the time going to private school. I had to move her into public school, and this was like the third school she had been to. So moving her again was not on my list of things that I wanted to do. Moved her out of school. Eventually my car was repoed. My ex filed for bankruptcy, pushing all of quote unquote our bills onto me. So I was left with no other choice but to file for bankruptcy myself. My other grandmother passed away. That was my first 6 months as a coach, you guys. So, and I want to point out too that the first 4 months, I think I made my first check was in October for $34. So you're probably thinking, well, Lisa, what kept you going during that time? You had all of this stuff going on. You weren't really making any money, but what kept me going was the excitement. The excitement of feeling like I was doing something special for myself, that I was a part of something bigger than myself, having fun, working out, feeling good, surrounded by positive, encouraging people. And when I say that, my coach was 3 hours away. She was in Chicago. So it's not like I saw her very often, but online you feel so connected. And that's what's really cool about this business. So while I had all this crummy stuff going on in my life, I had all this positive stuff going on in my life at the same time that kept me going. It was about, in April of 2011, I retired from my full-time job. So I fired my boss. I quit. I was like, take this job and shove it. But I got ahead of myself. So I was able to eventually sell my house. Tira and I moved into kind of a dark, dingy apartment, sleeping on the floor in a mattress. I remember my coach, Christina, wanted to come down to do a training, and she's like, oh, I'll just stay at your place and I'll just sleep on the couch. I was like, oh, no. I was so embarrassed, and I was so ashamed, and I just did not want her to come and see where I was living. And so we ended up staying in a hotel in my little town or whatever for the event. But that's where I was at in my life. I was working full time, had my daughter, you know, working through our life changes that, you know, had recently taken place, and continued to just work on myself, bettering myself, doing personal development for the very first time, you guys. I never really read personal development. The only books I read were like Danielle Steele romance novels, guys. Yes, I admit it. So along the way, I just kept plugging along, having fun, focusing just on my own personal journey, bettering myself. And one thing led to another. And like I said, I retired from my full-time job in less than 2 years. At that point, I had almost tripled my full-time income. So when my job was eliminated, I was like, no, I don't really want to move to Chicago. No, I don't really want to take some other job that I don't really want to do. So I left the company. Ended up moving Tiara and I to Atlanta, Georgia in July. And that is, I mean, this business has totally changed my life in so many ways. If I hadn't taken that step, I would still be sitting in a cubicle, playing office politics, getting nowhere, applying for jobs within the organization. I applied for a sales position, you guys. I got turned down because I was too nice. I smiled too much. I just could not get ahead. I couldn't break that ceiling. So moved to Atlanta. Tiara and I were here for about 1.5 years, ended up meeting and falling in love with my husband, Paj. And you guys, I think it's really important to point out that when I got signed up with this business, I really only wanted to make $100 a month. I could not see bigger than that. I couldn't see anything past that. The average person can't comprehend making more than an extra $1,500 a month. It's proven, and I was one of those. So I set the bar low and thought, you know what? I just want to make $100 a month. That's it. That would keep the lights on. That would give us Tiara and I a little bit extra money, you know, to buy food or whatever. Within 5 years of that decision, I joined the Million Dollar Earner Club with Team Beachbody. So I became a member of the Millions Club, which is totally insane. When I talk about it, I'm just like, how is that even possible? Is this my life? Yes, it is. And it all started with a decision to do something different. So if you're not familiar with Beachbody, Beachbody is it, man. They are the leading fitness industry provider. They're constantly coming out with new innovative technology. Over 23 million customers. Right now we are in the United States and Canada. In a couple of months we are launching in the UK, which is huge. So you guys want to get in now before this explodes even more. In 2015, we reached $1 billion in sales. The brands are well known. Beachbody does all of the advertising for you. People have heard of P90X. They've heard of Insanity. They've heard of Chalene Johnson, 21 Day Fix, Shaun T. And we just constantly keep coming out with more and more workout programs to keep it exciting, to keep things new, and to keep things